Welcome back to another episode of our Wyckoff crypto discussion. As usual, today we will explore the crypto market through the lens of the Wyckoff method. This information is for educational purpose only and is not an investment recommendation. Please stop the video and read the disclaimer. We have a big announcement today. In the last months, we have received so many positive comments from you guys. And I'm seeing that many of you are really enjoying the intellectual challenge of trading and studying the market. And this is really heartbreaking. The history of Wyckoff Analytics has started with Professor Hank Pruden, a phenomenal educator that taught the Wyckoff methodology for decades at the Golden Gate University in San Francisco. And Hank was animated by the idea that Wyckoff methodology is not just a passive study of the pre-existing dead body of knowledge. He really loved to see people involved in this intellectual challenge. And discussing the methodology in live classes, practicing in real time is still one of the features of Wyckoff Analytics. So we have heard from you that you would like to receive more frequent updates on cryptos because this market moves so fast. Well, we have just created the Wyckoff Crypto Trading Lab. This is a Discord channel where you will find extra content. So every week, the Wyckoff Crypto Discussion on YouTube will continue to be the backbone of our analysis. But for those of you that want to receive additional content, this is the place to be in. And we will publish almost on a daily basis flash updates on the crypto market, Bitcoin, the crypto future, and so on. So we are planning to create 3 minutes video updates that you can watch right away on your laptop, on your phone. And I think that Discord is a great platform where you can also submit your candidates for the next week of crypto discussions. So in this way, we can create together a watch list of small caps that exhibit interesting characteristics. So we are still in the beta mode now, but you can join the group right away. It will be free until March. In the future, we will have some premium content for paid subscribers, but for now it's free. So you'll find the link here in the description, in my blog too, or you can just scan the QR code with your phone. Roman, are you excited for this project?
I'm extremely excited. I'm also a little bit scared, in terms of how much time it might take. So we'll have to figure it out. I think you saying that we're in the beta phase is so correct. So this is going to be a challenge, but it's going to be a very exciting challenge. And obviously, again, the only reason why we're doing this is because of all of the comments and requests. Actually, there were quite a lot of requests from you guys. Why don't you have a Discord group? Why don't you be a little bit more active? We like the material, and actually, I kind of, Alessia, in a way was not necessarily overwhelmed, but it was really pleasing to see so many comments, from people on our work and on your work in particular. So I'm really grateful that we have this opportunity. So, so what else are we going to do in this Discord group, Alessia?
So this is a screenshot. As you can see, we have many sections here. Market updates, movers, campaigners, our Twitter feed update on the S&P 2. And you can send your candidates also in the section, your submissions. So we want to build a watch list of small caps with you all and then track these assets together. So tomorrow, we will see the first release of our videos, a very short video from my side, and join us. So we are open to work with other communities. We do not believe in a competition between traders, so everyone is really welcome.
Well,
with that in mind, no, go on.
Also, we were discussing with Alessio the way how we want to structure. So there's going to be a lot of free material that Alessio already creates. We definitely, these videos on Thursdays, which you guys love so much, we're going to continue with those. Those are going to be free as well, as I understand, right, Alessio?
Yes.
And then, each day for the paid subscribers, we're going to have some kind of morning, evening updates from Monday, Tuesday to Wednesday, And then on Friday, for those who are going to be paid subscribers, you're going to receive the watch list for the next week. So we're still in the works of how, we want to approach this, what exactly we're going to do. But, I'm just going to follow Alessio's lead here. All right. Okay, so now to the general discussion, Alessio.
Yeah, let's jump right away into our market analysis. So yesterday was a very interesting day in the market. Supplies are coming to the S&P. We see here one of the largest downbar with a high volume signature since September. And today's recovery has been quite fast. This is an early constructive sign, but in order to have a final confirmation, we must wait for the close of this candle. That bar was a change of behavior that now we must want to see a confirmation. So if buyers are able to quickly absorb supply that has emerged on yesterday's candle, this price action could anticipate some consolidation. I think that this information is crucial for the crypto market because Bitcoin is a very tricky position. After the huge profit taking that has occurred in early January, now market participants are sitting on their hands. The volume signature is decreasing. Both supply and demand are exhausted. This is a point of vulnerability, I think. And we know that supply is exhausted, but in order to jump on the bull side, we want to see a clear sign that demand is coming in and is able to commit above significant resistance levels. So Bitcoin must prove us that demand is coming in. For example, a break of this downsloping resistance would be a first constructive sign. For now, we have seen weak rallies with poor lift. And yesterday Bitcoin has held quite well compared to the S&P. But the real selling has already occurred in early January. So I repeat, this is a point of vulnerability. Think of the context of the market and market psychology. If more supply will come in the next days and price falls below the support, this dotted line here, that would be the maximum pain for weak hands that have participated in the last leg up of this market and now are so close to lose all their gains. And ironically, a wave of liquidations below that level would provide massive liquidity for smart money managers on the other side of the trade that are looking for two things, volume and value. So I'm still cautious here. I think that the short-term bearish scenario is still here, and Bitcoin has to prove me that demand is really in. So we want to be very tactical here, Roman. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so very interesting spot. And it's very interesting because there is more uncertainty. Usually when, for instance, like on the way up, it's kind of like boring and uninteresting. We're just making money on as the asset moves up. Also, change of behavior is very clear. An automatic reaction is very clear. Secondary test is very clear. So phase A usually has this structure that is a very clear structure. Stop in action, change of behavior, retest. What comes next, that's a challenge because phase B is usually going to be a little bit more unpredictable. And with that, you just, by keeping that in mind, that it is much, much harder to trade phase B, you have to adjust your trading just in general. If you're a long-term campaigner, obviously you're still in. There was no reason for you to get out of this position. There was only reason to trim your position, at around 40,000 or on the way down. If you're a swing trader, then you go into a much shorter time frame on the intraday, and then there you're trying to define the swings up and down, and you're trading them short term. You're not expanding your trades in the direction of the overall secular bias, which is to the upside. So this is just tactics. Then let's come back to the S&P. So a very interesting picture where we have a sign of strength, a backup, and then we have this very laborious move up with a lot of emergence of the supply around these spots right here. All of this supply is being absorbed on the way up, so we know that we're going through the vertical absorption. And then yesterday we have this big supply that's coming in, suggestive of what? As Alessia has said, change of behavior. And change of behavior suggests a trading range. And we're thinking that maybe this trading range will last for some time. And today's price action, this up bar, and obviously, we have to see what kind of close we're going to have. But so far, as of the time of this recording, we're doing extremely well. So this is suggestive that this is a reaccumulation, and that the price action could be confined into like a smaller type of trading range, but still a trading range. And there could be some deviations, to the downside, maybe like into the end, something like this, like to 36, and then the recovery. I would be thinking that for the S&P, this area is extremely important. Why? Because this is where the sell-in came, this is where the sell-in came, this is where the sell-in came, and there was absorption of this sell-in. So this is where demand actively came in, and they just said, we're going to buy at this higher level. So this is a very important support line between 35 and 36. And we just have to see if the price is going to stay here, or if it stays and then kind of like goes down and then rebounds from here. Also, another point, and Alessio talked about this, I talked about this, Bruce talked about this in the last episode of the WMD on Wednesday. A speculative ability of the Bitcoin to produce a much earlier top and show what's coming for the overall market. So I would say that this top is here. And now I was thinking actually, Alessia, about this, that maybe the market might have some kind of the same type of format as we have in Bitcoin, the structure. So for instance, the secondary test, maybe another bar like this, as a lower high, and then we just kind of like going back to the support, and we're just developing the structure right here. So I wonder what you think about that.
That would be very interesting, and I feel that in that scenario, Bitcoin would bottom just before the S&P. So it will be very, very interesting to see that.
All right. Well, how are different sectors doing?
So the defined DEX is leading, as we have anticipated many weeks ago. On Tuesday, I have published on our blog a quick update anticipating some short-term reaction on the shitcoin altcoin DEX, still in the boundaries of the trading range. We have had that reaction, and now price is recovering. So in the ideal scenario, we can see in the next week maybe a commitment about the resistance of these trading ranges. But I want to highlight here a consideration linked to what we have discussed before about a potential shakeout or liquidation event. So look at Bitcoin. If Bitcoin reacts to the downside, reaching, for example, the support line of that downtrend channel, what do you think it will happen to the rest of the crypto market? Such a liquidation event would force crypto funds to sell their coin darlings to cover their losses. First sell what you want, then sell what you can. As such a reaction could create a shakeout in other assets due to the bottom of these formations. So it sounds like a low probability scenario, almost paranoid scenario, but I think that the odds are here, and this idea can really help you to manage your emotions if a sudden reaction takes place in the spot. So Roman, what do you think here?
Yeah, I'm thinking in terms of two scenarios, Alessia, here. I'm thinking, and you've discussed both, so I'm going to be very brief. Yeah, so Bitcoin goes down, everything else that outperforms right now, and everything else outperforms the Bitcoin, as you could see, I mean, by this recovery, by this area right here, by this area right here. This is so different than the Bitcoin, where we have all of this weakness. And we've talked about the rotation so many times. So it's very interesting to see the effect of this rotation unfolding on the structures of different, crypto assets. So definitely stronger, and most definitely stronger. So in this scenario where Bitcoin goes down, I think that we might have higher lows. We might have an undercut of the upsloping support. Probably, Alessia, I wouldn't be thinking that we would go below this point because the demand was extremely strong at this point. And I think that there is some value around this area, like around this area right here. So maybe undercutting short-term lows and then as a spring recovering up. Or in the second scenario, if let's say we stabilize here, and what I'm seeing is some supply diminishing characteristics spread to the downside diminishing, and the result is diminishing as well. So there could be a thought here that we could potentially rally within the context of this structure, maybe a rally like into the high of this bar, into this resistance, and then consolidate again, or even slightly overcoming this in the local upthrust manner and then consolidating again. And this is again a function of phase B. That's why it's so difficult to predict what's going to happen exactly. A lower time frame is much better, and also thinking about what is stronger. So you want to be present in those assets rather than in Bitcoin that had this type of inactivity by market participants. So very exciting picture here. And just a general comment, Alessia. Again, I'm just always awed by these structures and the way how the crypto assets move. It's just unbelievable how quickly they move, how quickly the structure is being formed, and it's just like, wow. And look at this beautiful chart. Wow.
Yeah, so Ethereum, FTT, same structure. I cannot see any distributional signs here, higher highs, higher lows, decreasing supply. But please keep in mind that if bearishness comes into the market, the fact that these assets have phenomenal comparative strength compared to Bitcoin will not necessarily save them from a shakeout. So I have personally heard that many traders are using like maximum leverage to the long side here. I would be very cautious. I want to see step by step many confirmations to the upside.
Well,
This is
Alyssa,
my
how would those
approach.
confirmations look like to you?
Well, for example, now just a small backup of the first resistance that we are breaking would be a great confirmation, like that. So step by step, we have to see a breakout followed by another breaking up, breakout and breaking up, all a sequence of these events. That would be really interesting. And of course, we have to place our stop loss here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like the structure overall. The distributional formation and look how beautifully resemblant these two structures is. And Alyssa, thank you for putting these two charts together. Smaller distributional formation right here, and then that leads to the change of behavior in both. And then I really like the next rally. Why? Because it doesn't necessarily shows the availability of the demand. I mean, like if we look at the volume signature, look what kind of demand do we have here? We don't have a lot of demand here. But what's beautiful about this volume signature is that supply is also very low. So that just tells you that whatever they did here in the first two legs, where one was like distribution, and then a change of behavior, that supply is exhausted. And therefore, technical rally overcomes the resistance and goes into the upthrust action. So, and that in itself is a minor sign of strength. It's just another reminder that, yeah, if supply is observed, this is type of the move that we're going to have. Then another test, which is the same magnitude as the change of behavior, and that one is the higher low, which forms the apex formation. Supply goes down in both cases relative to the change of behavior. So that is suggestive that selling has come, but it's lower. It's not as heavy, and also it doesn't produce a necessary result. Because selling is still here, because supply is increasing relative over the period of the inactivity of the supply, we still have to have some kind of test. And look at the test. The test is just, again, on lower supply signature. and it's another higher low. And plus the texture of the decline suggests that selling is now even more exhausted. And that is suggestive of the continuation. Now, I like Alessio's idea, and usually we discuss this in WTC classes. How does price resolve itself out of the apex formation? Well, because of the characteristics of the demand and supply, how they kind of like function in the apex formation. We wouldn't be expecting a big sign of strength. We would be expecting more of a smaller rally and then a smaller backing up action, which would not have the same magnitude as the previous reactions, and then a continuation. So to me, just the breakout above the highs of the sign of strength and after the backing up action would be actionable. So, and that would be probably my point of entry. But I also could understand, Alessio's thinking about here the shakeout. If, let's say, Bitcoin is being sold very aggressively, and it acts as the major market, so it could just put that pressure on other assets.
So a question from David. So in the last crypto discussion, we have shown that Aave was having a stopping action, an important point and figure target has been hit, and we were expecting consolidation, so phase A, phase B, and so on. So if you see the daily chart, price is just continuing up after that bearish bar. Supply comes in, but it's quickly absorbed after just a couple of days. So you cannot see all the phases on the daily chart. But look at this chart. The structure is still visible on the intraday. So this happens when you have an asset with strong leadership characteristics like Aave, where absorption happens very quickly. So you have to go on the intraday chart, also on the pointer figure intraday chart, and you can see that this yellow area that was on Saturday was completed has already the count for another leg up. So basically, you have to review your analysis after a couple of days and see, wow, buyers are coming in, they're absorbing whatever price here. So this is fantastic because it shows the flexibility of the pointer figure technique. Of course, you have to update your analysis. You cannot just look for a target and say, okay, it's done. No, this target works in this way. They are just there for look and listen, would say Wyckoff. So your remarks here, Roman.
Well, I think if we would be just thinking, and I think that the question that David was raising was like why were we thinking that the trading range is going to unfold more and would have a more duration? Well, obviously, I mean, weekly updates is not that frequent, in the for the crypto space. So we apologize for this. Hopefully, the Discord will solve this problem, for us and for you guys. If we would be thinking about just the analysis itself, right? So I want to concentrate on that. What do we see? Well, there are such beautiful analogs here that you could see. So for instance, this trading range right here. So it starts with somewhat of the obscure change of behavior where, the price stops from moving further up, but it doesn't have characteristics of the distributional formation. So right away, even here, you're thinking reaccumulation. Secondary test at the conclusion of phase A is an upthrust above the resistance. So again, suggestive of the reaccumulation. And then the whole pattern, you could see that you have this higher highs throughout the trading range. You have the demand tails. So this is again suggestive of the reaccumulation. And then look at this reaction. So this reaction reminds me of this reaction right here. And these two trading ranges kind of remind me of the same type of formations. We have the climactic run here into the buying climax, a change of behavior bar. And this is very subtle, so you might not even see this in the moment. You will have to think about the climactic run, and then that this was the largest supply signature since this low. And even though the bars are somewhat similar, this bar is slightly more than the spread in this reaction, and obviously the volume signature itself. So supply is increasing, and we are thinking that this is a change of behavior bar, suggesting what? Suggesting a trading range. Now, the structure of the trading range is somewhat similar to what we've seen before. Higher high as an upthrust, higher high as an upthrust, and then we go into this reaction. So we could have seen this reaction as similar to this. And even when we look at those two reactions, we kind of have these similarities of how the price just unfolds itself, right? And then it goes into a spring, and here it goes into a spring as well. So you could have done that type of the analysis. Also, the recovery of the price is extremely important. As you see, for instance, volume characteristics diminishing, what does this suggest? Diminished supply character. And same happens kind of here into this area. And that goes into the resistance, and then off the resistance, we're expecting momentum. Momentum happens. Also, an interesting point here, and Alessio, I wonder what your thoughts on this is. Climactic run, stop in action, change of behavior, trading range, and then the rally, which is laborious into the upthrust, laborious rally into the upthrust. Alessio, what do you think is going to happen next?
Yes, so maybe another reaccumulation. And there is a possibility to have more count here, because if you look back at the point of figure chart, basically, and now we have fulfilled the first target. But when you use also the second target, well, there's higher to go. So we have to look, as always, for confirmations, but the structure for now is not bad. So great point, Roman.
Well, very interesting. So definitely something, and this is a very popular asset right now, as Alessa told me. So it's going to be interesting to see how the structure is going to unfold here.
So SXP, a submission for our student, and I really love this structure because basically we have a lot of momentum, then this very dramatic fall, and now prices, you can see from the volume signature that supply has been absorbed, and the last part where the volume is present and high are showing a lot of comparative strength with Bitcoin. So the historical analog with the Huobi token, I think it's very useful here. And look how the absorption on the way up happens here in the second part of the trading range. So volume increases and we stays. Volume increases, we absorb supply, we stay. So I think that you should keep in mind that this could be the way price will move on this asset. This kind of absorption on the way up. Your remarks, Roman?
Yeah, I love this analog. It's just so beautiful how crypto market, just gives you so many, looks that are similar. And again, it just goes to the similarity of the behaviors of the participants in this market. So beautiful.
So Republic Protocol, beautiful chart. We see here reaccumulation, a sign of strength. Now we are creating that LPS. So volatility is contracting. I would like to see another test after such a dramatic action, but we have to see. But overall, I think that this price action is very interesting. And I had the pleasure to discuss a point of figure study on Republic Protocol with Kyle and Troy a couple of months ago. They are good friends of Wyckoff Analytics. And I think that we will continue the study because point of figure charts are pointing to higher targets here, Roman.
Yeah, and when we see the moves like this, right away, Alessio, I'm thinking, out of all of the signs that we see in the trading range itself, right? So change of behavior, exhaustion of the selling into the lower low in phase A, upthrust action, which has a lot of demand characteristics on the rally itself, diminishing selling, more diminished selling into the higher low, and then a very, very dynamic rally behind substantial increase in the demand that brings us significantly higher with multiple progressive closes up. So that is suggestive of the continuation. But this bar right here, which acts again as a change of behavior bar, suggests that the environment right now is a trading range and testing. That's what we are doing here. And that's very logical. I mean, we are coming to the new highs. Supply comes in on the profit taken, and it's not that strong, but there is still some supply, and it just has to work itself through the absorption. So what's not to love here, just tactics and timing of this is of utmost importance. All right, Alessio, so we're done with another episode. Again, very exciting announcement about the Discord, guys. So whenever you have the chance, sign up, check it out. Let us know what you think, we should be doing. We're always open for any type of commentary and advice. And Alessio, thank you for spearheading this whole thing.
Thank you, Roman, and we are open to your submissions, your suggestions for this new project. So, exciting times.